Hi, Mr. Julius Omware. How are you today?
Good, I'm very well, thank you.
Thank you. And thank you so much that you have given us time today. I know you're a very busy, occupied person in your, routine. And mashallah, even it's COVID, let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen. But Mr. Julius Omware, touch wood, alhamdulillah, by the grace of Allah, he's very busy because the clients trust him a lot, and in the past I have worked with you also, you remember,
Right.
as a consultant, as an assistant. So thank you so much for your training also. Till
Thank you.
today, I remember those things what you taught me. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
And have you heard about my channel, Uzmaz Wellness Tips?
Yes, in the recent past,
Thank you.
maybe just in the
Thank
last
you.
couple of weeks, yes.
So thank God, I have, mashallah, subscribers and good views. So you will get all the good views, inshallah,
Hopefully.
after this. Hopefully,
Thank you.
after this interview, and then I think give me time for at least once a month. So because the immigration or family law or it is a huge topic we cannot discuss or you cannot answer in one interview, right?
That's true.
That's true. Okay.
Right. So I think we talked about the sort of the professions that are in high demand. That's really important for our listeners or subscribers to take notice of, because that kind of helps us in deciding very quickly. It's a process that is it takes a little bit of a while. It's expensive, so it's really good to actually get in if you're sure that you're eligible to apply. In terms of how long this process takes, it takes 12 months. The government has established an online platform called Express Entry.
Wow, 12 months only?
Yeah, basically 12 months. So
point to be noted, Your Honor, that 12 months, it's just 1 year, right?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah,
so,
that's good.
Yeah, so the way it works is once a candidate meets the minimum requirements of everything we talked about earlier, right? The first thing they have to do is, if they haven't, they have to write the IELTS English language exam.
We have to do it in India or Pakistan?
Wherever they are located, any country where they're
Yeah.
located. The IELTS exam is usually written through the British Council. So the British Council is in each of these countries, and there are other licensed centers.
So the whole family, the kids or the wife and husband, everyone, only the applicant supposed to do that?
So typically it's the principal applicant,
Okay.
and I would advise also that the spouse.
For the spouse.
The
But if she doesn't understand, or if she's applying, he doesn't speak or understand, then what's going to happen?
Okay, so the principal applicant has to actually be competent in English to be able to apply.
Okay.
And so that means the only way he shows that competency is by, registering and writing the IELTS English language exam.
Right.
Okay. Now, if the spouse is not an English speaker, they don't have to write the exam.
Yeah.
But if they have some level of English ability, it's a good idea that they actually write the exam, because their score in that English exam is going to add points to the principal applicant as well.
That's
Okay.
good, yeah.
So writing the English language exam. And then the second thing is, if you have a degree or a diploma, a master's, a PhD, the second thing that is important is to get that degree evaluated in Canada. There's a process through an agency called World Educational Services. You basically send information to them about your education, transcripts, as well as your degree, and then they run through a process that tries to find...
They will verify?
It will be verified by your university overseas, and then compare that with Canadian education, and then they issue a certificate that confirms that your degree or master's or bachelor's or PhD in whichever country is equivalent to a...
So they are doing and taking this 12 months time, they are doing all this procedure to, equivalent the degree and find out, is it equal to Canadian?
No. The 12 months we talked about was the length of the entire process from when you file the application to when you get the permanent residency visa. That is separate. That 12 months is very separate from what we're talking about. What I'm talking about regarding the evaluation of education is at the very beginning, before we actually make up your express entry profile, before we actually file the application for you, you have to have passed the English language exam.
Okay, they did this.
Okay, then you have to have got your credentials evaluated.
Oh,
your
so it's going to take 2 months, 3 months? How much time?
It depends on the candidate, depends on how quickly you can do it. But the World Educational Services, for example, that does credential evaluation here, they take about 2 to 3 weeks. once they receive the documentation from your university.
Acceptable, sir. Acceptable.
Right.
This time is okay.
Right.
Yeah, go ahead.
So you have your language exam. The minimum language score for express entry skilled professional worker is at least 6.5 bands. So the English language test, they score you on listening, reading, comprehension, the spoken, and the written. Okay? So all those four areas, your minimum score should be at least 6.5 out of 9. The highest score is 9. So 6.5 out of 9 minimum. Okay? If you get 7.5, 8, 8.5, even 9, better. The higher your score is on the language, the more points you get for language. Now, but minimum, you shouldn't be less than 6.5 to qualify to be eligible. So 6.5 on each of the 4 areas of testing, and an average of 6.5 on all those 4 areas. So you've done your language, you have your credentials evaluated. Now we are ready to basically open your file in what is called the Express Entry Profile. It's an online database established by the government. We populate your details there, and then it's sent to the Government of Canada, Immigration Department, and then they issue a number. That is the commencement or the beginning of an application process for permanent residence.
So the Canadian Embassy will send them the letter, they inform them, the acknowledgement that we are receiving and we are doing this, now send this again. Or to avoid all such things, we have to hire the lawyer services. So they will send you the documents and then you will send to the client in India or Pakistan or any other country. How?
Sure. So if you have a lawyer, so first off, these applications are all online. Okay. So if you have a lawyer, your lawyer will establish your profile for you in Express Entry.
Okay.
And then most of the lawyers do share password access into that account with the client. So the client has access to the account and can see what information is coming. So from time to time, the immigration department will send letters. Those letters come through an email.
Why somebody should hire the lawyer and pay their fees? Is the process gonna be fast or easier, or why? Like they could apply online, or in Pakistan, they have some consultancy offices, right? People say, okay, come bring your passports, photos and photocopies of your degrees, and we will file your application, and they are taking big amount for that, right? It's not that easy for every person, right? Who can afford it, that's fine. But why they would hire the lawyer? What is the difference? They are filing their application by themselves, or they are hiring the lawyer? So please.
Okay. So I think first of all, in general, I can say that if you know exactly what you're doing, if you're able to fill in the application, if you're able to open up that set up your Express Entry online, you can actually do that on your own, or even a consultant who's not a lawyer can do it for you. But that is only if you're thinking of it in terms of it's just filling up a form or filling up an application. I think, however, the point is that what I actually would like your subscribers or people watching this to understand is that immigrating to Canada is actually a legal process. It's not just an administrative process where you fill an application and send it. There are laws that govern how our immigration process and system works. So one of the advantages you have by having a lawyer who is trained in this area is there are certain aspects of Canadian law that a consultant overseas may not even know or understand that impact that process or that application. The law changes every 3 months. This consultant may not know. Or you, the individual applicant filing, may not even know about those laws and the kind of intricate details that the visa officer or the government officer who's going to be looking at is going to be looking for. So one of the benefits of hiring a lawyer is you have the benefit of legal insight and legal advice in terms of direction.
Right.
Yeah. The second thing is that sometimes you can file an application and then there are legal complications. There could be complications around, for example, maybe you had a criminal record in the past in your country, and that could be an issue that could prevent you from being allowed to enter Canada. Okay? Right? Maybe there are issues of inadmissibility.
So the lawyer will remove that, or a lawyer will fight for that?
No. So having a lawyer helping you does give you the benefit of the lawyer actually being able to help you navigate that situation, providing legal advice, and even finding a way out. Those are things that a consultant cannot do for you, or you cannot do for yourself as well.
Very important point. and I think the listener or whoever is watching our video, they would note it down that why the lawyer is important, right?
That's right.
I think we have cleared that, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so now you have covered only one category, which is skill category.
Correct.
Right? Again, the second point is marriage.
Right.
Marital status. You know, spouse, somebody is here, they're gonna sponsor the wife, they got married, or somebody's like maybe woman or men, whoever is Canadian citizen. How much time will take that? And is that easier way? Like people think in their mind, if I'll get married to a Canadian woman, it will be so fast. I'm gonna have the Canadian visa and I'll be there, right? And the same thing, the girls or women are thinking, oh, if I'll marry to Canadian, right? You know, I'll be very soon in 6 months or 6 to 8 months in Canada. So what are you thinking about it?
Okay, great. So good question. So apart from the skilled worker category, the other category for immigrating to Canada is what we call the family class. Okay. So the family class is so out of the family class, the spousal sponsorship, which you make reference to in your question.
We'll talk about later the other thing. The brother is here and he wants to sponsor. That's another thing. Or he wants to sponsor their parents.
Yeah.
That will be another question. But this marriage thing is very important.
Sure. Yeah. But I'm just trying to set out the generally as a class.
Yeah.
As a class, for the family class has spousal sponsorship. There's a parental sponsorship, grandparent sponsorship, or you could also sponsor brother and sister, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
But coming to your question specifically about sponsoring a spouse, a Canadian, for example, marries a partner, a friend, a fiance, spouse overseas, right? Once they do that, there's a process for sponsoring the person who's overseas to come here. In general, that process takes about 12 months as well. There are ways the government tries to expedite it, make it quicker, but in general, you're looking at 12 months. Sometimes it can be completed within 9 months or 10 months in certain cases, depending on each individual file. But the general time is 12 months or shorter. Now, according to the
12 months is with the lawyer or without a rights is standard time.
That's standard time from the government processing point of view. And also there could be issues at the processing station, but that's sort of the general policy of the government, because the government does not want to keep spouses apart for too long. This is the policy of family reunion. So the faster we can get a family together, the better. We don't want them waiting for too long separate from each other. Okay? However, the requirement is coming to the question of whether it's easy or not. The first thing the government is interested in examining when they are assessing this application is